kids, it's me, Johnny Fox, and this is not a Foxtails. Not quite. Similar, but not quite. This is a thing I'm going to call state of the arts. See what I did there? I have with me today the fantastic Katrina Tia Charles. Katrina Tia Charles. And the magnificent Jeloweart. Um, you can play paper, rock, scissors if you like, or whatever, to decide who goes first. If you just want to briefly just tell us what part of the arts you're actually in, and then we'll get stuck in.
I think you should go first since I was the technical problem. So.
Okay. Well, those who know me, my online name is Jeloweart, and I do portraits in chalk and charcoal.
Nice.
So it's traditional art as opposed to digital art or anything.
Love a bit of charcoal. And chalk, did you say, as well?
Yeah, chalk and charcoal. I use them together.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Love that.
Okay. I don't know what else to say. So.
That'll do.
I'm Katrina, and I do music. I do music of the singing variety and the songwriting variety, and if I get away with it, of the guitar playing variety as well. I also have real musicians that stand around me and play for my songs as well, so it does improve things somewhat.
The very wide-ranging umbrella question we're going to deal with tonight is essentially, what is it like? How feasible is it really to be an artist in the UK, where we all are right now, in 2026? So first things first, do you feel like it's is it really supported? So is it seen as something to aspire to? Or when you tell people you're an artist, or if you tell people like you want to be involved in the arts in some way, are we still in more of a might you get a proper job kind of an attitude?
Well, for me, that's definitely a mixed answer to all of that, but especially that last bit. Yeah, it's difficult how to actually answer that because it is an unpredictable income, and it can obviously be very challenging. Goes on lulls and everything. So obviously, some stability is nice. I think it's what a lot of people, outside who aren't part of the creative world, they don't understand it. Like, why don't you want something more secure? I think it's just more lack of understanding of our world, which is why they push for the real job. And they don't necessarily understand the compulsion you have to be creative. So it's just different. But lots of people who I meet, they pretty much assume I do this for income, as my main job. So I get both of it, really. So, I don't know the same for you, your music, or?
I get the same. So I've got a full-time job now because making music, especially because I was during album recording time, making music was costing me more than it was ever making me. But I have exactly the same sort of mixed responses. I have people that assume that I just do music. I have people that assume that I've always done music and that I just do music. And then people that assume it's a hobby and ask me if I want a bit of exposure at their like X, Y, or Z gig. We're having a gig. Can you and some of your musician friends perform a set each for us for the exposure? I'm asking them that, dude. But sometimes we do, but yeah, sometimes people think it's a hobby, and that you can afford to go across country with all your gear and play for free. And then there's some people that assume that you're making loads and loads of money off of it because you've got music out. So yeah, combination, to be honest.
What interests me I have my own personal experiences on this, which means how do you try to reconcile like I said, just that compulsion to be artistic with the kind of the business side of making money or trying to make money, or at least knowing there's a part of you that is being artistic, and there's definitely a part of you that is because wouldn't it be nice if we paid the bills from being artistic, and maybe maneuvering your art in a way that you think possibly might be more likely to do that, or because it's I find it very conflicting.
How do you reconcile it? With great difficulty, I would say. It's, I don't know about you, but it took me ages to be able to be comfortable asking for money, or like not acting awkward when somebody gave me the money. So if I did something paid, not acting like, oh thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I once got paid for doing something a few years ago. I remember once getting paid for what I charged for 2 sets for 1 set, and sort of getting the money and running, like sort of feeling like I'd done something wrong, but like I just sort of robbed a bank. But the business side of it, I think, I don't think it's as unusual for somebody to have an analytical mind and a creative mind. I think it's more usual than people think. I'm really good at spreadsheets and nobody expects that, but like I think it's more usual than people think. But I think reconciling it in a way that doesn't make you feel as though you're putting a price on your art in a way that you don't like or that you're uncomfortable with, whilst knowing your own value and the value of what you're putting out, takes balance. And it takes confidence. It's like you have to become more confident than I think most creative people start out as.
Oh yeah. It's very hard. It's weird. It's kind of like stepping out of your comfort zone, but it's stepping out with your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And whenever you are making something, you always put a little bit of your heart and soul into it. So if you get any negativity, it really flipping hurts.
It really
So
does.
very, very fearful doing that. People always ask me, like, how long have I been drawing for? And it's like, I would say professionally or just drawing in general.
Yeah.
They're very different answers. There's like, professionally, it's been, I can't remember exactly, it's coming up 10 years roughly.
Wow.
But I still get people now saying like, oh no, it's too expensive and blah blah. I'm thinking, to be honest, I need to charge like minimum wage.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, it's too much. Thinking, it's not like picking something off the walls, the range of something to put on your wall. It's not a factory made thing. People don't realize the amount of hours that go into it. And like you said, like the instruments, it will cost money.
Yeah.
Where do people think this money comes from? It's crazy. And it's just, they just have no but I always tell myself, they don't know. They don't know. And you have to like not overreact emotionally because they don't know. It's not their fault, they don't know.
Yeah.
So you've got to take like immediate insult, really, and have a breath. Try and see things from their point of view. But I got to say, it does matter about how they do it. If they're really rude to you, then that's when you then your value though, because some people take it to heart and they will think, oh really crap, I can't ask for money. And some people won't even draw for a while or something because it hurts them so much. And that's devastating. It hurts me when I hear that from other artists. Other people just bringing them down and stuff like, no. Okay? They don't know what it's like. They don't know where you are on your journey. Where you are, they might think visually, oh, it's not, they don't like it. First of all, it might not actually be their style.
Yeah.
Second of all, they might not know how far you have come from like 2 or 3 years ago. And again, the amount of hours that's gone in to getting you to that level.
Yeah.
And that's what you're still paying for, is this person's skill and effort. And they just don't see that, which is the problem with the creative world. People don't see the heart and effort and skill that goes into it.
or the piece
Oh,
of
definitely.
soul that's attached itself to the page. I think with art, especially visual art, like it hurts me for visual art. I know a lot of visual artists, and I can probably draw a stick man, but it really does bother me because I've seen people spend hundreds of hours on a drawing, especially with things like charcoal. Um, I've seen how much focus somebody can put on what to everybody else looks like a random part of the picture, like a shape with a triangle of white in it, whereas to that one person it's hours of shading, hours of
Mm.
editing with those little white cardboard eraser things. Like I've seen that happening, and you see the transfer of soul. But when it's visual art as well, I think that because of the digital art and things that are out there, and because of filters and things that people put on stuff,
Yeah,
it pains me. Like it really
not
does to
pretty
see
part of it
people
now.
saying, well, I can get this from such and such a place. Yeah, but it's not the same, is it? Like you're not getting the same thing there. Yeah.
It's not. It's not the same. But I think I'm on record with my musical background. Like sort of in the early post-pandemic days when things were starting to try and get back to some kind of normal, and an awful lot of musicians were bitching and whining and complaining about not getting paid. We're getting paid less
Mm.
than what they were getting paid pre-pandemic,
Mm. I
which
think, yeah.
really started to grate on me because they're obviously having like no respect for what those venues and those landlords and ladies or whatever have been through
Mm.
to try and still be here, that they're still open and they still want you to play and they're still going to pay you,
Mhm.
but just things are different now. They're not, like I
Mm.
said, they're not they don't mean to devalue you as an artist. They're not saying you're not worth it anymore. They're like, right now, we just ain't got it.
So
Yeah.
I didn't gig before lockdown. I started doing music. I picked a guitar up a few months before the lockdown and decided to teach myself guitar because I had lost my voice for 2 years from pneumonia. So I didn't know I sang every day until I couldn't, and I lost my damn mind. I just didn't know it was a thing that I did every day. So as my voice came back and I played a song and I sang and I was like, oh, I feel like a real person for the first time in my entire life. And then I was like, oh, this is what I do now. And I've been gigging in front of people for as long as I've been learning, to be honest. And that was quite a few years ago now. So I can't call myself new anymore, which is scary because I'm not much better. But like, I didn't do paid gigs before the lockdown.
Mm.
I have had the conversation with some pubs where they've genuinely negotiated prices and said, we don't know how many people will come. We're not very big. Would you consider less? And those are conversations that some people can afford to have, and some people will do it because of where they are in what they're doing in their output. But sometimes it's not approached like that. There is so there's a well-known food and drinks chain. It's supposed to be sort of an upmarket pub, and they've got them everywhere. Um, it's got a name that relates to sort of horticulture. I'll not name and shame the venue, but they are a well-paid venue. They
Mm.
make a lot of money, and what they offer to artists, for example, I've not even entertained it, not because of wanting more money, because I've played for less than they offer in small venues and in other venues or for charity.
Mm.
But what they offer, you've got to be hanging around for so many hours
Mm.
to do so many 45-minute sets, like over and over again. It's about 4 or 5 hours of your time, and they pay you in tiers. So as you become more of a golden level person, then you start getting a decent wage, which is still not as much as any other venue will pay you. And
Mm.
there are ways that venues can afford to pay musicians. Because I'm originals, I haven't been upping my price in the way that other people have had to, because
Mm.
it's not as in demand, right? So I am not smashing upbeat sing-along songs out for a Saturday night crowd. I'm a Thursday, Friday and Sunday night crowd person. But it's I've played at one place, a cricket club in a tiny little village, that used to pay me more than I charged. And the reason that they could do that was, A, they paid the people who sang covers out to backing tracks a lot more than that, and they refused to pay me what I was charging when I was starting out, which really boosted my confidence. I thought it was really great. But they made sure that they could afford it by having a jukebox that paid their musicians. So they put a jukebox in their venue, and that was how they paid their musicians. So they always had in excess of weeks worth of musicians in that machine. And every venue can afford to do that. Every venue can put a machine in there on site that will pay their musicians. So when you look at it in that way, that was always full. And it was even during, I was a bartender in the sort of table service part of post-lockdown life. And the pubs were always still full. The pubs were always still full of table service. The waist grabbers were out in full force when it was table service, so it was quite bad. But it was never an empty. There was never an empty pub in that respect in the post-lockdown bit, because everyone had been indoors. So there were ways for people to do it. So I do understand people sort of not being happy that all of a sudden a fee that they were used to being paid. I wasn't used to being paid. Being paid in general was like total bonus for me, because I was like, what is this? This is my new thing that I do, and people are offering me money for it, and I'm not even that good at it yet, which it was great. But for some venues, they were asking people to play for free when they could afford not to. And so other venues that genuinely wanted to have musicians, didn't have the money for it, were broaching it in a much more conversational way. Like, oh, we are all in it together. And especially when you're in sort of working class towns like I live in, where we've got a history of being in it together, you know, a history of miners' strikes and all that sort of thing. In the pubs, you want to support them, and you want, especially if they want to support you, especially if you're an original musician and they're playing original music, you want to go and play in their pub, and you want to be able to do it at a price that works for them and works for you. But they'll push it. Some will say, we can't afford it, but everybody's getting paid except for the musician, sort of thing, because the beers are still flowing, the lights are still on, and that sort of thing. So it is a sweaty job to do, especially if you've got a lot of equipment to lug about, and the equipment's expensive. So the people that were being paid a lot back then, they all had the good equipment. You know, they're the people who've got the good equipment. They've invested into it. It's their full-time job. It's how they pay their bills. So the venues had to, at the same time, respect that and sort of think, well, we'll use the jukebox until we've got enough money to pay something, or we'll have a conversation with them and say, could you do a shorter set for less? Or if I book you a few times whilst we're getting back on our feet, could I maybe have you at a lower fee until we're back on our feet, and then I promise you so many regular bookings. So those conversations were being had, but then other people were sort of saying, well, you'll get the exposure, and they were just getting told no, because it's rude to make a long answer to what you just said. But I think
it's like a question about that though. So when you're like first starting out though, would you do that? Because literally no one's heard you, and you need to be heard.
Yeah, I mean, I still do it now. If the right person asks me to play for free and it's something that I want to do, I will. It just really depends on how it's being asked. But I did learn a lesson when I was first starting out. So when I was first starting out, I played anywhere they would let me. Again, I'm doing original music, and when I first started out, I was saying no to doing covers because I really didn't want to establish myself as somebody who slipped a few originals in. I just wanted to establish myself as someone who played her own music, which is quite hard to get people to accept. So I was playing anywhere that they would have me.
Right.
The playing for music for money thing, I mean, I was accepting lower fees to start off with until somebody had a really strong word with me. Someone who I thought a lot of said, Katrina, there are other musicians in town, and every time you accept it from that place, and that place, because there were some places that, unfortunately, they were always just trying to lowball musicians, and they always have, sort of thing. And they were sort of saying to me, every time you do that, you're making it a little bit of a harder conversation for everyone else.